What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel, Growing Up Fish. I'm Jamal. In this video, we're going to be talking about my Amazon puffers and how I've been able to grow them up and keep their beaks trimmed and some other care tips that I think you should know. So these guys are adorable. I mean, if you're thinking about getting one, do it. But I do want to just kind of give you some tips and tricks that I've used over the years. I've had these guys for about 2 years now, and I've had actually up to 9. But there are now 5 in this tank, but they were in a 75-gallon tank. But we were still beginners in the hobby, and we lost some, and we didn't know how to, fix the problem before we lost some of them. And unfortunately, we are only left with 5. But that's okay. That is what's going to happen in the hobby of you being an Aquarius, and you've got to figure it out. And that's why these videos are so helpful, because these are ways that we figure it out together, right? So like I said, they're in this, and I'm sorry about that glare on the back. I'll try to just kind of keep it on them. But I've had these guys for about 3 or 4 years, and they are great. I mean, they are wonderful. I tried to feed them a little bit so that they could be active, and so hopefully that's working. But again, there are 5 in here, and the miraculous thing about this is that they've always been able to keep some type of companion in the tank with them. Like, for instance, this goldfish, which has been in here for years with them, about 2 years. And they used to nip at him when he was a little bit smaller, but when he got up to the size that he is now, they stopped, or at least they don't do it as much. But he loves it in there. I've also had roseline sharks in with these guys, and of course I have, you can always put guppies in any tank that you have, if you want them to be feeder fish, obviously. And I used to put those in here with them as well. But for the most part, this goldfish is their companion, and they love them. They leave them alone, and yeah, they don't really mess with them too much. So I did just start feeding them before this video some bloodworms, and that's normally their diet. You can also see at the bottom of the tank toward, I'm trying to keep their beaks trimmed, and so you can see that I also do use the half clam shell, and I drop that in the tank. And there's a video that I'll post right here that actually talks about how I prepare these clams here so that it really ensures that their beak is trimmed, because these guys' beaks will grow. Well, if you're enjoying this content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, also that like and bell notification, so you'll know every time I post a video. And these guys are just small, but they do get a little bit bigger, and their beaks may become a problem. So there is the beneficial bacteria all on that heater, but I do keep the heater around 82, 83 degrees Fahrenheit, and I also keep a blower in there. It's not in the right position right now, but it normally should agitate the water. And I also have a hang in the back filter, as well as a sponge filter back here as well, which I recommend any tank, and all tanks really have sponge filters, because the power goes out, the hang in the back filters don't start back up right away, and you are left with a mess, versus the sponge filters that will immediately start back up whenever the power comes back on, if it goes off. So that's just my experience with that, and I see a lot of people who have lost fish like that because the hang on the back filter doesn't restart when the power goes out. And that sponge filter, if it is well cycled and has enough beneficial bacteria to support the number of fish that are in your tank, then it will immediately kick back in. So that's just a great thing that I have learned over the years, and I recommend you having a sponge filter as a backup in all of your tanks. So these guys love to eat, like I said, bloodworms. They will pick at the clams that I put in here. They also like to eat snails sometimes. I just, for me, snails are just becoming too expensive, and I'm just having to figure it out a different way. Even the half clam shells can, get costly, and they're not always available. So, I think I'm going to take a ride to the beach sometime soon and go and try to get some fiddler crabs and put those in there because they love those little fiddler crabs. That's what I used to feed them when I first got them, but the location where I am now, unfortunately, doesn't have the fiddler crabs, or they're just, overpriced and not worth, feeding them to a puffer. They're more like keeping them as a pet. So, great way to keep their beaks trimmed is with the fiddler crabs. But, for now, I'm also using the half clam shells. I want to give them some more food just because I had some sitting up here. And they're going to tear this up as soon as they see what I've done. They are going to tear it up. Look at that, right? And a lot of people are afraid to go ahead and get these fresh water puffers, but my experience has been great. The one thing that they won't and can't tolerate is dirty water. That's with all fish. And so you just have to make sure that you are keeping up with your water changes, and your tank is cycled. And like I said, I put guppies in here. I've also had this goldfish in here for 2 years, and listen, they work beautifully together. But like I said, I've had rose lines in here with them, and you just have to monitor them. But some people just want to keep these species tanks, keep them in their species, which is like perfectly fine. But I do recommend you at least keeping a lot of them, not a lot, but a few of them, at least 5. I've seen some people kind of have 3, I've seen some people kind of have 2, and I've seen some people have 1, and I'm like, man, that puffer is going to be, well, it's so lonely. Plus, would you like to be just in a tank by yourself? No, you'd like to have some type of companion or something in there with you, right? So, to make them more comfortable, I'd recommend getting, at least 5, 6. Like I said, I had 9, and I'm thinking about getting more. They're just, the prices on these things have just become quite the price. But I love these guys. I love that they are just social. They do kind of do what they're doing back here with just a little bit glass surfing, and I don't really pay that any attention. They've been doing that since I put them in the tank, but some people have rearranged there, and they don't do it for long. See, they just kind of do it, I guess, just to see what's out there. I don't know, but some people get annoyed with it, but they've been in this tank so long. But I would just say, give them some time to kind of just get adjusted to the tank, and don't go crazy trying to figure out why they're glass surfing. Sometimes they just need a current, or sometimes they just need a little blower in here that'll push that water, or sometimes they're just glass surfing, they're just having a good time. So don't stress out about it. They'll eventually come to terms with where they are and what's going on. So these guys are loving these bloodworms. Like I said, they do pick around those clams, at least mine do. And overnight they'll eat it, versus like these bloodworms that they just tear up. And I just think that's just so great. I did have an experience, and the reason how I lost my Amazon puffers, some of them, was once I forgot to condition the water and put safe in it. It breaks my heart to even talk about this. I forgot to condition the water and put safe in it, and I lost a few that way. And then I also had lowered the temperature of the water, and I lost a few that way because they got egg. So just make sure that you keep their water conditioned. Like I said, make sure that it's clean. Make sure you're doing weekly changes. I do weekly water changes on all of my tanks, or I either add safe or just top off the water with more safe, so that there's just that constant, because there's evaporation happening and water leaves the tank. And I fill this all the way up to the black rim at least, and you see it's water already coming. It's already water been evaporated from the tank already. So that's going to happen. So I often top up if I don't do a water change, one week, then I'll definitely have to do it the next week, because I don't want them catching ick or getting sick, or just having problems that they shouldn't have, or having problems that are my fault. You know, because these guys are wonderful. They are wonderful creatures, and if you just take care of them, they will do right by you. They'll entertain you, and they will love on you, and they'll greet you every time you come to their tank. So hopefully this kind of encourages you to get one or two or three or five, start a little colony. And I haven't really tried to breed them, nor have I read it too much into trying to breed them. I think it's extremely hard, and I haven't been successful, nor have I even prepped for any type of breeding here. So I couldn't tell you about that. But if you are if you have any of these fish, though, if you can comment below about what you're feeding your Amazon puffers, or any of your puffers that you have, just to kind of share with the community what are some options out there. But these guys are great. If you have any questions about how I've been able to raise these guys up, comment below. If you have any questions or comments that you want to talk about with your Amazon puffers, or any of the puffers that you have, comment below as well. But these guys are great, and I'm just going to sit here and watch them. Aren't they just so much fun to watch? Hopefully this will encourage you to go ahead and dip into the life, and go ahead and maybe buy an Amazon puffer. Who knows? If you have more questions, comment below. I would love to interact with you guys and love to answer any of your questions. I'm Jamal, and you've been watching another episode of Growing Up Fish.